Let's talk about sound devices in poetry. Sound devices are nice for our ear, and our brain really enjoys them. And it has to do with the repetition of sound. Those are the ones that we notice the most. Now, these three, alliteration, assonance, and consonance, all are repetition of particular types of sounds in different parts of the word. The one we are probably most familiar with, and the one we notice right away, is alliteration. Alliteration occurs at the beginning of a word. We often know these as the tongue twisters, like she sells seashells by the seashore. We hear a sh, s sound repeated over and over again at the beginning of the word. So that is an example of alliteration. These two, assonance and consonance, happen inside or at the end of the word. And depending on what type of sound is how we know what it is. Assonance is a vowel sound, and I remember that because it starts with an A, which is a vowel. And consonance is the repetition of a consonant sound. See, consonants, consonant, and the middle or at the end of the word. Okay, so alliteration is at the beginning, assonance and consonants are inside or at the end of a word. So I'm going to create a little color chart here, 3 different colors as my key. Alliteration, when I mark it, it's going to be pink. When I mark assonance, it's going to be green. And then when we see consonants, let's make that yellow. Okay? So, start with alliteration. It's usually the easiest one for our ear to hear. In this poem, I Never Saw More, we have to go line by line when we're looking for these different examples. Our ear usually needs to have it within 2 or 3 words of each other, and it usually has to be in the same line for us to notice it. So, alliteration, let's start with the first line. I never saw more. Are you hearing any sounds repeated? Yeah, me neither. Let's go to the next one. I never saw the sea. Right away, I notice that there's an S sound at the beginning of these 2 words. So I'm going to put a little mark here by the S sounds so that you can see that that's alliteration. It's at the beginning of the words. Do you see any more? I see an H, how, the heather, billow, be. I'm going to keep going. Certain am I of the spot. Interesting. I have an S sound and an S sound here. Even though that's a C, it still makes a sh sound. Remember, I said it has to be within 2 or 3 words. But you'll see here, these are pretty short words, so our ear still picks up on that S sound, certain spot, as if the checks were given. So that's most of the alliteration that we see in this poem. So let's go on and let's look at assonance. So with assonance, you're going to hear vowel sounds repeated inside or at the end of words. Go to the 3rd line here. Yet know I how the heather looks. Do you hear the ooh sound in know and how? I have people identify it in 2 ways. Some people will say that that is a w sound. Now that's a W, so that would be consonants. But I tend to say that I'm hearing an ooh sound, no, how. So I say that's an example of assonance. If you look in the 2nd line, nor visited in heaven, you probably hear an I sound repeated. So I'm going to mark that. Hear the visited in heaven. So there's some more assonance. Then there's consonants. Consonant sounds inside or at the end of words. In this, like we said before, if you're hearing this more as a W sound in know and how, you could say that's consonants. This line, this 3rd line here, is a great example of consonants. Yet certain am I of the spot. Yet certain am I of the spot. Are you hearing how that T sound is repeated? So since it's inside or at the end of the word, that would be a great example of consonance. Having these sounds makes our ear rejoice. It really likes to hear them, so it's a great way to make your writing more poetic.
Made with Doodlecast Pro.